Hi, this is Ryan from Let's Roleplay. It is September 18th, 2022. Alright, so I would like to keep this one kind of short. I know I think the last channel news I made was July 31st of this year. And so I'm back to making videos. If you haven't noticed, I've put out 3. I've got another one that's coming out tomorrow. So what I think I'm going to do is every Sunday, I'm going to just have nothing come out. So 6 days of the week. And I'm aiming for around 45 minutes of Oblivion for each day, one each day, and I'm going to do it till it's done and we get Skyrim out. So I'm guessing November at the earliest and December at the latest. I'm still in the main campaign. Well, not main campaign, still in regular old Cyrodiil, not the Shivering Isles yet. And I'm not sure, like, I finished the Mages Guild, but I haven't done anything else. I mean, going back 15 years. When I first played it for the first few years it came out. So I'm going into new territory. I've never been in the Shivering Isles. I think that there's literally 1 or 2, maybe 1 quest left for the Mages Guild where I am. And that might be out like Tuesday for that one. And so I've never been this far in Oblivion. It's all kind of new to me. No, I haven't looked ahead, but I have heard a lot of things that give away some things, like especially about the Shivering Isles, because I watched Fudge Muppet. I haven't really watched them the last few months. They've slowed down. Fudge Muppet, who, they're over 1 million subs, pretty big channel, all about the Elder Scrolls and Elder Scroll lore. And I've learned a lot from them. And I've looked stuff up. I'm able to look up my own stuff from hearing what they have to say. So I mean, these guys are masters. They know pretty much everything, the 3 of them. And so I would kind of consider myself an expert by this point on, you know, the Elder Scrolls. I would have thought I would be an expert on Star Wars too, but I've been watching a lot of lore videos on Star Wars the last year, and there's tons of stuff I don't know. I think a lot of it's in the expanded universe or Legends, Star Wars Legends now. I wrote a Star Wars book a long time ago. 2011. Yeah, I spent several months just focusing on it. That was when my son was born, my wife was home, and in between taking care of him. And that was when The Old Republic was coming out, the end of 2011. And I wanted to have a really nice background story for my character. Turned out to be about 75,000 words, which is approximately 200 and something pages, maybe 200, 250 pages worth. I still have it. And I wouldn't say it's, well, I wouldn't say it's my magnum opus, but I would say that it was pretty well done. Poured a lot of my time and effort into that. And things like that have, you know, led to my ability to write all these little stories that I do for my characters on my channel. So, I mean, that did affect things, all my role-playing and writing the book, before I started my channel, or before I actually focused on just being in character, which started in 2015 for my channel. My channel started August, I think, the first video of 2013. It's actually coming up on 10 years, so yeah, just shy of 11 months from now, it'll be 10 years, I think, for my channel. Although, I mean, for 4 years of that, I didn't make any videos, so 6 years out of it, I did. So, yeah, it's to bring in Skyrim, I really want to focus on Oblivion. Not just because I just like Oblivion out of, you know, it's probably for me in the middle of the 3 video games I'm working on with my characters and my Let's Roleplay stories. So I think the least would be what I'm wearing. Neverwinter Nights. Not that I don't like Neverwinter Nights. I am liking it. I just, you know, you have, when you're playing games at the same time, I don't know if because I don't do this normally. It's a different experience when you are literally every day or every other day you are playing a different game, and I can't help but compare the games to each other, and I get a lot of it over the last, well, it was 2015 that Pillars of Eternity came out, so 7 years. I've heard a lot of people say, oh, they like it, it's a great game. It was one of the most least liked games on my channel, actually, that I've ever done. Not the very bottom, but I think that also doing Baldur's Gate and Dragon Age Inquisition at the same time as doing Pillars of Eternity, the first game, you really couldn't help compare it. I really think Baldur's Gate and even Dragon Age Inquisition has a lot more soul in it. there's a lot more engagement with your characters. I could really get myself into that character's head. And I have to reach to do that with the two Pillars of Eternity games. I think mechanic-wise, they're pretty good. They're definitely an improvement over Baldur's Gate. I'm not going to argue that. The graphics are also better than Baldur's Gate. It just feels lacking. A lot of the lore seems mundane, almost like a half copy of, say, any D&D, like Forgotten Realms or any of the other ones. The universes there, and trying to input their own, on the other half, their own version of a fantasy world. And it just never really, like, it's got some interesting concepts. I really like the deity aspect of what your choices were in Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire, when you could side or not side with Aethys and, destroy the gods or whatever. That's fascinating. That's probably one of the more interesting concepts I've ever seen with any kind of fantasy in my life. It's a really, really neat ideas in there. It's just still what they didn't have was an in-depth between character, between not just your talking and getting to know your other companions, but really getting to know your own character that much. I just felt like, okay, well, you're the Watcher. You have these powers. And yeah, people recognize you as the Watcher. It wasn't fulfilling for me. I don't know why. It was totally different. And say, compare the Watcher in the Pillars of Eternity games with, say, Dragon Age Inquisition. You're the Inquisitor. I actually felt like my character really was Inquisitor. I could really get into that role. And ironically, I didn't like my character. It wasn't that I didn't like the game. I didn't like my character too much for, I don't know how many videos I put into that. Quite a lot. Might be my top one. 200 plus videos for that game, but I think for maybe like the first 60 to 80 videos, I wasn't sure if I even liked them or not. But I got into it. The British voice actor also helped, but talking about Dragon Age Inquisition. So somebody actually messaged me, left a comment saying that I'm not sure, the American, it should be North American, because we Canadians, we don't have an American accent, we just have a North American accent. Somebody said that that's actually the best voice actor for the male voice, but I haven't even heard him. I don't even know what he sounds like. Literally, I've never heard the North American accent, which is interesting. Maybe I should look that up one day. But I got into it. The voice acting was really good with the British guy, and I think, Inquisition has its own issues, but comparing it to, say, Pillars of Eternity, it just seemed much more soulful, much more engaging, and something that I will have fond memories with. And I think that the Pillars of Eternity games also didn't help, is I had to reread a lot of the writing, because most of the game was writing. Yes, I know Baldur's Gate games are like that too, but I know how to pronounce just about everything in there. There were so many times where these names or whatever that they threw at you in the Pillars of Eternity games, when you're doing your re-recording, because you didn't say it right, having to go through that and over again at times became very tedious. And then I found out I wasn't saying a lot of the names right anyways, because, phonetically speaking, in the English language, it wasn't written how you would think it would be pronounced. A lot of names, country names, places, people, gods, whatever in the game. Yeah, I think that, and I've said this before, Obsidian needs to up their game when it comes to their characters interacting with each other. There just needs to be a lot more. I think they did improve with is it The Outer Worlds. I didn't finish that game. I don't know if I said that before. It's a good game. I think it's improvement, but they just need to go a little bit further. And I'm not talking about, they need proper romance, but that could help. It would help, but it isn't. Even if there was romance thrown in there, and there was in Pillars of Eternity Deadfire, about the worst romance I've ever seen. And people used to say that Mass Effect 2 was just having sex with your crewmates. There was no real romance there, but I felt there was a lot more romance there than there was in Pillars of Eternity 2. But yeah, no, and it's not just about banging your crewmates. It's more than that. It's just interaction and getting to know the characters and how things work and their thoughts and how, you know how it is in relationships. Just something a lot more that was lacking. So anyways, enough about that, because I'm going to be talking about that game in the polls. So now that I've already gone over that, I probably don't need to bring that up again. As the polls are coming. So what have I been doing in the last month and a half? Well, August came in, and I think for the first 10 days I was still making videos for Fallout 4. So yeah, that I really do like Fallout 4. And I was just inspired to do this character arc, and if you've watched to the end of the last video I made for it, then you would know. But I just wanted to get to that point. I was just inspired. In fact, I wrote the intro to that last video like 6 videos before I got to it, and I'm like, okay, this is where I want to work up to, so let's go through it and get to that point and add in, ups and downs to reach there. So, August, I think it was July, I got my youngest son, who's 8, riding his bike without his training wheels. Now, keep in mind, both of my kids are on the autism spectrum, so he just used to refuse riding. We had a little bike for him, and he refused to even touch it. He was more focused on riding a scooter around, and he became okay with it, but not like his bike. It's just amazing to see how far both of my kids have come from where they were. So I got my own bike, and the 3 of us have been biking around. My older son is 11. He's been riding since he was 8 as well. So, or was it 7? Yeah, I got the training wheels off my youngest son just before he turned 8, because he turned 8 24th of August. So yeah, so I've been out. I don't know if you can see it, if I've got a tan. We've really gotten out, because one thing that I don't tend to do is to dabble in things too lightly if I'm into it. So we've been going pretty hardcore. We're out for an hour. One time we hit 2 hours out biking. We don't just go around the streets, like we go to the trails. Where I live now, I couldn't believe it. This is probably just before school starts, so about 2 weeks ago. School starts the day after Labor Day here. 2 weeks ago, I was out riding a trail. It's called where I live. It's one of the major trails along a river. And I knew it was there, I just didn't know what an amazing, like on a nice hot day, some of the last week of really warm weather, no clouds in the sky, and seeing the river and all the mountains and the greenery and all the forests around it, because that's where I am in BC, just mountains. We're in the Vancouver area, it's just kind of like it opens up from the mountains, and I guess deposits have been flowing down the river, the Fraser River, for millions of years. So there's this big valley here where Vancouver is, but 5-minute drive north in your car, maybe 15-20 minutes fast ride on your bike, is a park that goes, and it's a national park, and it's like probably several hundred kilometers, square kilometers, and there's nothing. There's mountains to the north, which is that way north, and to the east, northeast, and there's nobody living there for could be 500, 600, 700, 800 kilometers. There's nothing out there. It is wilderness. And just seeing all that, and of course there was a couple helicopters that were dumping something on a fire that I couldn't see. It was kind of out of my range. It's pretty far away, but the view was just like opened up. All you see is mountains and greenery and the river. Oh my gosh. And the sun and the sky. Yeah. That kind of hooked me to getting out. I was like, this is absolutely awesome. I didn't know it could be this beautiful out there. It is beautiful around this area. And I guess a lot of people don't know it because they don't get out to see everything around the area. And I've lived here for over 10 years now, and I didn't know it was this wonderful. Wow. Yeah. So I can't say enough about that. So, and when my kids are in school, like I'll go bike riding. Since I've only just started making videos in the last, 4 or 5 days? 3 days. It's 18th, 3 days. But I did it on the first day where I would, get all the videos, edit it, record, edit, and then encode. And each video takes 45 minutes to an hour to encode. So I'll be making 2 at a time. And then I got 2 hours just nothing. I'll just go try to do this while my kids are still in school, and I'll get out and go for a 45-minute bike ride. I can go as fast as I want. My kids aren't as fast as, like, I always have to keep turning around to make sure they're still with me and everything as I go. But I can go as fast as I want, and doing 7 kilometers in about 45 minutes is great exercise. So, and it's just fun. I spent probably, I mean, I didn't spend too much, but for us indebted people, I spent a lot on my bike, so I didn't cheap out there. And I've got a pretty decent bike, and I'm just very happy to be able to do that. So that's been my August, and up the last few weeks as well, so 6 weeks of that. And it's been a lot of fun, so I can't say enough about getting out and burning calories and seeing everything. It's just been a lot of fun. I'm so happy to see both my kids out there with me too, because it's, you know, with their being on the spectrum, they don't always get as much exercise as I would like them to. My older one is a little physically, wouldn't say handicapped, but slow and awkward. Can't really do as many physical things as, you know, us, what do they say, neurotypical people can do. He's okay. He's not obvious until you really test him. But it's really good to see them out on the bikes. And yeah, my youngest son, he's such a little scrapper. he's a fighter. Oh, I love my kids to death. So yeah, that's been my time off. I've been doing other things, of course. Our house has been worked on as well. So we got a cat as well. I'm more of a dog person, but I do like cats. And the reason being that the dogs I want are very expensive. That I was looking at. I can't believe how expensive dogs are these days, unless you want to just get one from the pound. But if you want a specific type of breed, not that cheap. So yeah, we got a little cat, 3 months old. He's tiny. I don't know where he is, but I could hold him up if he was here. He's small. We named him. Well, he was named Sprite before we met him, so we kind of like the name. Little male cat, very affectionate. Too affectionate. He's kind of clinging on to me because I'm home. I work from home and I take care of my kids at home, and so yeah, he's always hanging around me. Yeah, not so much today because it's a Sunday and my family's home. I guess he's just doing his own thing, but typically he would be here sleeping in front of me or maybe on my lap right now. Yeah, so we are missing 2 people from my channel, and I think both of them were banned again, so our accounts aren't there anymore. Buck and Knight Reese, you are no longer here, and I think you guys have said something that YouTube didn't like, and I don't know what's going to go on with that, but you're missed, very much missed. I would like to see you. I hope I didn't offend you in any way, because this is the nature of people on the internet. It's hard to know what's going on in their head, and people just ghost all the time. So, you guys have been here around for a couple years now, so yeah. Come right back as soon as you can, make a new account if you must, but yeah, I miss you guys. And yeah, just make it back. Speaking of that, offending people, I do not really want to focus on politics really at all on my channel, like I originally did. That's how I felt. I just wanted to keep it out. It's not that I want to hide from it. It's just that there's every time I go, like I've been on Twitter the last few months, and all these gaming companies that, you know, they're all getting involved with politics, and it offended me a couple months ago because it was unnecessary that they do that. Just stay out of it. Make games. So I felt like, you know what, you guys are getting into it. I might as well just dabble into it too. But I don't want my channel to be like that. I just want to focus on the games, and these channel videos are also a way for people to interact, because there's the Q&A and the polls that I read through. So it's great to have you guys talk to me as well through this, and I can, you know, tell part of my personal life, because I do get asked from people, what do you like to do with this, or are you married, or whatever, what's your favorite color, or whatever. It's a bit of a thing against you there, Buck. I was joking about that it was last year, I think. But Yeah, so this is a way for me to interact directly with you guys, because I don't do that in my videos. I don't really talk about anything else outside of that character's viewpoint. And so the next one will have the Q&A, and this one will have the polls, which I will get to now. Alright, first poll. If you've played the Pillars of Eternity games or watched my videos, what is your impression of them? Had 43 votes. 37% I think that they are one of the best RPGs ever made. That's actually a lot higher than I thought people would have given it. I mean, obviously it's a very small sample size. I'm sure if you polled 1 million gamers, it would not look like my little poll results here. So, 26% said I like them, they're pretty good. 16% said they're okay, not too great, not too terrible, in the middle. That's more how I would feel. I probably would have voted right there. Even though I have complained about them in the past and just did in this video. 16% said I don't like them. They could have been so much better. Actually, you know what? I'm kind of in between these two. Because they could have been so much better. And 5% said I despise them. Poor lore, story, characters, mechanics, and I can completely see why someone would vote that. I think out of 43 votes, I think, what is that? Like 2-3 votes that somebody did for this one. So, and Captain Red said, I don't think there's a game in the world that could claim the coveted title best ever for me. What, there's no GOAT for you? Still, it's not hard to see why they're beloved the way that they are. Yeah. We'll go with yeah. Alright, so being banned from YouTube means all your comments you've made are gone. So Buck probably had the #1 amount of comments on my channel. Unfortunately, that's hundreds and hundreds of comments gone. Ouch! Anyways, I guess that would make you the #1 commenter on my channel now, Captain Red 1000. So, next poll says, my Let's Roleplay videos are a way for you to... Out of 58 votes, 34% said, lose myself in an adventure in another life and world. Yeah, that's it for me as well. I would have voted that. 26% said de-stress and relax too after a day of tension and pressure. 22% said learn about the lore, story, and ways to play them in character. I do get a lot of people saying, asking me how I roleplay or how can I stay in character so much, or because they can't do it. And like I said, one of the biggest ways for me to do that is that I have an audience that I've got to keep, be loyal to. Watch something very enjoyable and entertaining, 17%. It's kind of all the above, actually, for me. But if I had to choose just one, lose myself in an adventure in another life and world. So, Blake Bridges. I really like role plays, however, whenever I try to... This is right here, it's an example. Whenever I try to do some myself, I feel like I mess it up somehow. So watching videos like yours helps give me an idea on how to roleplay. I wrote back, roleplaying on your own isn't always easy. Having an audience for me keeps it consistent and real. Awesome that my videos are inspirational for you. Ashley Wilkinson. Mine's a bit of all as well. You're the best Elder Scrolls Fallout YouTuber I've found on YouTube, and I've watched a lot over the years. I responded, thanks a lot for that. I really appreciate it. I do, actually. I do get the occasional person saying I'm the best role player they've ever seen on the internet, I guess. Ashley Wilkinson, I actually met an Ashley from the UK in my one of the MMOs I played some years ago, and he said Ashley over there is a male's name. Man's name. Here, for us here, it's considered a woman's name. So, Zam the Great. Honestly, I don't have the attention span to play RPG games anymore. Oh, wow. I came here because I never stuck with Morrowind long enough to really learn the lore as a kid. Well, that's understandable. As a kid, you just don't have the attention span. I can put your videos on my second monitor while I play WoW OSRS. I don't know what OSRS is. And I feel like I'm accomplishing two things at the same time. I look forward to taking in your other content when I finally finish the Morrowind playlist. Haha. I wrote back, that's okay. I tend to do the same thing when playing an MMO and strategy games. Just make sure you hit the like button on my videos. I'm really battling the algorithm and I need all the help I can get. Definitely. JT. All the above, to be honest. Third one, little less because I've watched the Storyteller series. But roleplays show it in a unique human way. which is perfect compared lore wiki. Knowledge. Learn about the lore. Ah, okay. So, Captain Red wrote, I pick option 5, all of the above. Damn, next time I'll put in a 5th option. Yeah, a little too late for that. How important is a romance in an RPG to you? This isn't about a good or bad romance, just romance in an RPG or not. 73 votes. 4%. Very important. I don't consider it worth playing without one. And 58% chose, I like it in my RPGs, but it's not a necessity. I would kind of be in the middle here. If an RPG is really well done, I wouldn't really miss a romance. But how many RPGs are that well done? Don't make me have to go over and think about this. But there are cases where, like, what you could make the case in Fallout 4 not to get into a romance because you just lost your wife. It's been over about a year since I made the first Fallout 4 video for us in our time, but in game time, so October, I think it's just February, so 4 months. Not really that much. But if I don't do it at this point, it's not going to come into the game. Realistically, I would say maybe about a year. Depends on the person. So, 30%, I don't care if my RPG has a romance or not. And 8% chose, I don't like romance in RPGs at all. Well, I mean, think of it this way. Romance is just part of human interaction with each other. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, if you're not into it. That's how I see it. What I don't like is that people... I know for the first Pillars of Eternity game, when we were going back about 7 to 8 years, when I was looking at the forums, there was a huge amount of people that were just dead set against any romance in the game. I don't understand that concept. I can understand you not liking it, but trying to push not having it in an RPG, I don't like that at all. Especially as a fan. Just don't do it if you're not into it. So, JT wrote, it makes or breaks an RPG when it's used, because if done right, it becomes a staple. When done wrong, it can ruin a potential franchise. I wrote back, interesting take there. And he wrote, it is. Like if done in a way only for the sloot purpose. Yeah, I don't want to play an RPG. There actually, I did run into I think of it. I don't know how much of an RPG game it is, but it's kind of anime-ish style. And it is all about banging girls. There's a bunch of them. There's like 6 or 8 of them. I couldn't believe it when I saw it on Steam. Some of you may know what I'm talking about, but I don't really want to go searching for it. But yeah, there's a game company, and it's not like porn, but I'm sure it shows boobies and it may show butt. Oh, and it shows the male appendage. So I couldn't believe it when I saw this. I'm like, wow. So these are sex games, maybe sex RPGs. Don't ask me. It's like Mass Effect, but without the fighting and about the sex, I guess. There's like a Harry Potter type version. Obviously, you wouldn't be a little kid, but type of school wizardry. Other things, going to college or university, and yeah. I had to look through it. Obviously, I didn't buy the games, but you can even check on my Steam games that I own. I didn't buy them, but I was curious. I was looking through it. I just, like, my jaw wasn't dropped, but it was partially open. Like, I couldn't believe that there was people made games like this. It was just a new genre to me. Sex RPGs. I guess that's a new thing. Not really. It's kind of also like The Witcher, except there's not really... I don't know if there's fighting in those games. I didn't really look into it that much. There may be a little fighting, where there's a lot of fighting in, say, The Witcher, and there's a little sex. They just reversed it, I guess. The Witcher games. So, JT, let me finish what you're saying. It just came to mind when you were writing this. So, not if done in a way only for the sloot purpose. Well, there are RPGs for only the sloot purpose now. I never liked it because it's only for a weird visual purpose. However, if done for a story and character building through romance, makes an amazing story and adventure, and I totally agree with that. And yeah, I wrote back, that's how I see it too, actually. I try to make up for any shortcomings in the RPG game through my story, but sometimes that's not nearly enough, such as it was in Pillars of Eternity Deadfire. That wasn't much of a romance at all. Oh, was actually painful romance. The worst, probably, in any RPG I've ever played. And there was no sluttiness at all in that game. What rating would you give my Morrowind Let's Roleplay? Please make a comment about why you would choose what rating for it below. Alright, so I think that, because I did this for Morrowind, Oblivion, Fallout 4, and this game, Neverwinter Nights, I think people confused it with, do you like this game? And what rating would you give this game? And if you didn't, there's some people that it just doesn't make any sense why some of the votes went the way it did. And it's not overall votes, just a small part of the votes. Really, it's about these 4 questions about my Let's Roleplays are not about the game so much as they are about how I wrote and acted out my character within the confines of the video game that it's shown in. So, real huge drop in votes here. So, 32 votes, 63% gave it an A, Morrowind, and 28% B, 3% C, 3% D, and 3% F. Not sure why there's any F. I should just not put an F now. If you didn't like it at all, but I find it strange, like some of the other games. And I think Fallout 4 got, and Neverwinter Nights got like 17% F. That doesn't make any sense, because as I said, it's about my character and the way I did it. So if you don't like the game, and aren't watching the games, please, you shouldn't have voted. This is about, I should have wrote it differently, yes I agree, and I would in the future, so it's not if you like the game at all, it's how I did in it. So, Zam the Great wrote, I enjoyed it, still trying to find time to catch up with it though. Seems like an overwhelming amount of videos for one series, but I'll definitely watch it all eventually, laugh out loud. There was a charm to it, as it seemed like you hadn't played the game in a while, so I felt like the backstory complemented that. Yeah, that was actually a big... You actually really kind of picked up on this, the vibe that I was trying to convey for the game, that he hadn't... Okay, well, Sunil Rilvain was 45. I made it when I was 44. Now I'm 46. So he was like a year older than me in real life. But, you know, elves probably look like a 20-year-old. If that. Well, whatever. Around 20. Because they can live for so long. So he hadn't been... I think 15 is when he was taken to the Imperial City. So he hadn't been back in 30 years. Hadn't been that long for me in real life. But it had been around 18 years? 17, 18 years for me in real life. So that was a lot of the Morrowind was, especially when I started, was how much I remember and could pour into the game character and everything that I wrote in it. It was a lot of fun for me to doing that. Of course, in the last half of the game, the difficulty, well, I did get in some difficult fights. I did die a few times in the last half of the videos, so 213 videos. So some of the practice videos I did to make sure all the mods are working right. I didn't go full-on melee skills, and whoa, I was just in that first dungeon, that mine that's right next to Sidyanin. I got my butt kicked. So Sunil Rilvain, as his background would, you know, fitting to his background, I focused more on melee fighting, and I was able to go in there and pretty much clean him out without too much difficulty. But I just found a lot of difficulty was lacking, as I did when I originally played it 20 years ago now, 20 years ago. But it wasn't just that, it was the combat mechanics and animation and sounds are just horrible. It's very dated. So when you're making that many videos, it does kind of... Yeah, I love my Morrowind Let's Roleplay that I did, so don't get me wrong. It's just that, as I said, the combat mechanics were, and everything involved with that was just quite lacking. And I really miss Skyrim mechanics. If you can throw in all the game mechanics from Skyrim into Morrowind, it would be one hell of a game. I just would have loved it to death. Not wanted to leave. So I wrote, thanks. Well, I covered the entire game pretty much. It's either a lot of videos or a lot of time per video. And I think by now, where was I? 176 that I finished today for Oblivion. I'm pretty sure I'm way ahead of the Morrowind videos in terms of time put into it, because I've made a lot of 45 minutes to up to an hour and a half videos for Oblivion in the last 50 or 80 videos. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I've already surpassed the time for Oblivion compared to Morrowind. Wood Rain Mud 76. Your style videos are so different from others. I like the RP and relaxing vibe. I wrote back, I appreciate that, thanks very much. Pity Patter Putzler. I honestly find the overpowering fighting boring. For that reason, I almost always play a thief. Stealth, shoot, kills. In Morrowind? Interesting, okay. I guess I never even thought of playing like that. That's closer to how I would like to play in Skyrim, actually. I wrote back, I don't think you watched it to the end then. There were quite a few battles that tested Sunil to the limit, and I even had to reload many times to get through it. Also, you know that Morrowind is like that, right? It wasn't balanced in vanilla. I even added difficulty to it through mods and turned the difficulty up. The fight with Dagoth was Sunil losing and not being able to keep up, and that's why he pretty much just ran and jumped in desperation to get to the heart. Yeah, Dagoth was absolutely destroying Sunil. Yeah, so you fight him that first time. That was a bit of a tough fight, but it was okay. But when you went into the heart chamber, that's when, like, you'll hit me and a third of my, or quarter of my life is dead, or gone. And even all the potions you can possibly drink, they couldn't keep up with the amount of damage he was doing. So I did turn around and jump right off the harp, realizing that there's no way that Sunil would be able to stand up to him. Okay, next poll. What rating would you give my Oblivion Let's Roleplay? Please make a comment about why you chose what rating for it below. Okay, so 40 votes, 73% A, 15% B, 3% C, 10% D, and no Fs. That's not how I remember it. I think, yeah, it's Fallout 4 and Neverwinter Nights that got a higher percentage of Fs. This is okay. As I was trying to say, maybe I can actually see why people wouldn't really like Malcolm Montrose, especially compared to the others. But I wouldn't give him a D or an F. I wouldn't give any of my guys a D or an F. Yes, it only makes logical sense from my point of view. But if I was to come in and as an outsider, I don't think any of my 4 characters are D or F worthy. But that's just me. I can see people saying, "Oh, C," because you know he's got some things more. He's more of a, I don't want to say victim. He has been victimized in his life, and it's not holding him back, but he does tend to harp more on it than, say, Sunil Relvain. So, Captain Red 1000, I like the effort you put into making the game look nice for our benefit. I like the smaller details you include, like complaining, believably, about a foot injury when a wall collapses onto it. I remember that one. I like the thought that you have put into the character you've created for the experience. I like how you've engaged with some of the more peculiar occurrences in the game, intended or not. I like that you appear to be enjoying your experience with a beloved game from my childhood. And I love that you've done all of this on a blind playthrough. That part in particular is worthy of praise. Well, partially blind. Never finished the whole story. I think I got to the point where they wanted you to close a number of gates. So that's probably around the middle of the main story. And then I finished the Mages Guild quest and dabbled in the Fighters, never touched the Dark Brotherhood, dabbled in the Thieves Guild, maybe the first few quests. But the reason why I didn't really get into this game, as I said before a few times, the crashes. I think it's fine if you play it without any mods, but as soon as you start loading into the original game, not so much what I'm playing now, which has gone through a lot of, mods have really helped try to stabilize it. And I think maybe it's gotten a few touch-ups over the years from Bethesda, because it did come out 16 years ago now. Yeah, you add in a few mods and the game was just crashing constantly over and over for me. Every 20 minutes, it was terrible. And then there was the leveling mechanics, which, I still remember having a 5-minute fight with my longsword and shield against an ogre. Just a plain ogre, it wasn't a boss. So, things like that, The game, I would never say it's GOAT. I would say Skyrim would be GOAT, but Oblivion, no. I can't believe there's some people that don't even like Skyrim. I mean, it's not a perfect game, but compared to the other two games, mechanic-wise, I think that is far superior than any of the Elder Scrolls games before it. So, Murilo Beltramini. I picked A because I really admire the creativity and effort you put into the videos. Also, I think it's awesome how you never break character. It really helps the immersion when I just want to watch something from another world to relax after college. And I wrote back, glad you like them. Yeah, can't break character. So, it's just become normal for me now. It may have been a little weird about 6-7 years ago when I was just getting into it, but when I came back in 2020, I was fine. I was just more nervous about actually, making videos again. I don't know why. Then I was quite nervous about putting my face on the webcam video, so I guess I've come a long way since then. Sir Airless de Vacuum, you should always give a see results option so people can see the result without picking if they didn't watch. I guarantee more than a handful of votes were cast by people wanting to see that didn't actually watch. Hello, Sir Airless de Vacuum. I have no control over that. That's a YouTube feature that they've designed. You can always change your vote after you vote, but until you vote, you don't get to see the results. Yeah. That's just how it is. What rating would you give my Fallout 4 Let's Roleplay? Please make a comment about why you would choose what rating for it below. So, 37 votes. The votes are going down, actually. I think that it's only like 20 in the last votes from last week. Or 22. I'm not sure. People have taken a big long holiday. Yeah, it's strange. There was a couple people making a lot more votes than just one. A, 57%. B, 24%. C, 3%. D, 3%. F, 14%. See, that doesn't... I know for certainty that the effort and acting I put into Fallout 4, Ryan Moore, has been by far my best on my channel. So yeah, putting it as an F, that it just makes me think that people are, oh, I don't like Fallout 4, give it an F. It's not about the game. I don't want to keep saying that. So JT wrote, I've seen many roleplays, grew up on Adiopose TV roleplays, never heard of that channel. And then in high school, Rycon roleplays. Now I've heard of him, I've still never seen any of his videos. So, is there more? Oh, okay, there's more. So I've seen the best Fallout roleplays, and your Fallout 4 roleplay, in my opinion, is the best I've ever seen. Wish you had an option for A+, only choose if best you've seen. You should be so much more famous for the quality and focus of roleplaying. Also, I am very interested in your gaming PC specs and recording setup, like microphone you use and capture card or software. I'm also planning a roleplay similar to your Fallout 4 one. That's why I'm asking to get a glimpse at the hardware being used for inspiration for the PC I plan to build. I wrote back, thanks very much for the high praise. I'm not sure why the algorithm treats my channel the way it does. It would be nice to grow much larger. And I just wrote down the specs of the computer. Anybody can see this. Just AMD Ryzen 7 3700X 8-core processor, 3.59 gigahertz, AMD Radeon RX 5700 XT 8GB video card. I'm using a Blue Yeti. This is the original one from 2013 that we got, so I know I can get better microphones. But it seems to be working really well for me. And I've seen other people using a Blue Yeti. It's a 9-year-old microphone, but I think it was about $300 Canadian back in $350 maybe. Probably like $500, $600 now. So I have a boom. I don't know if you guys can see this. It's holding the microphone up. And a pop filter. This is old stuff. People don't even use this anymore. And the shock guard. So usually, like, people have the boom go down so the mic sticks up, so you just speak into it this way. I can't physically do that with this boom. I'd have to get a new one. And I think one day, especially when I get the money through my channel, which is what I would, even if I had all the money in the world, I just kind of feel like it would be a level up type experience. Like, I earned enough money through my channel that I will get a new boom and a new microphone to do that, and so it will look more professional and probably sound a little bit better, although I've never really noticed bad quality voice sound from my microphone. If anybody feels any different, please leave a comment. But as far as I know, it's always worked well with me. The cord for the Blue Yeti to go into the PC, it did fail about a year and a half ago. I have no idea what happened there. It just died. I had to replace it, but it came in like 2 days from Best Buy that I ordered online. Alright, so, JT responded, thank you for the information, have a great day, and keep up the great work. Yeah, the algorithm is so annoying. I was a gaming YouTuber for 6 months, but work, school, family during COVID made me decide to leave, and I never came back. But I am going to soon now that I'm up and ready again. I have, however, created a mod pack on Nexus if you're ever interested, called Fall Lord. I don't know, I did thumb this up. Maybe I didn't see this Fall Lord 4. Oh, I'm gonna have to look that up. I don't remember seeing that before. So, Smilo Sabercat, a rating for content, but a rating for content. A rating for content, but 26 episodes is in 3 years makes it pretty hard to keep track of what's going on. Too much time passes between episodes to make it as good as it could be. Wish I had waited until you are old and gray and quit doing YouTube so I could watch the whole thing without long pauses. Love your work though, been subscribed for a long time. Love your CDDA and Kenshi vids, but would never have tried CDDA were it not for you. I don't know what CDDA is. And pretty sure you have me. I know Rycon Roleplay did Kenshi vids, but I have the game, but I've never done any Let's Roleplay videos on that. So I wrote back, hello, hell there. Hello there, Smilo Sabercat. I even wrote the name wrong, Sabercat. Sorry about that. I think you might have the wrong channel if you think I only did 26 episodes and did any Kenshi videos. I think I'm working on episode 97 of Fallout 4 and started last September. I have Kenshi on my Steam list of games, but never made a video of it. He wrote back, oh, you're so correct. I am currently working my way through your Oblivion roleplay, and it is awesome. Sorry about the mix-up. On the other hand, I rated your channel as an A, which it deserves, so I don't feel too bad. Okay. I wrote back, no worries. Thanks very much. So I actually wrote this, I forgot about this, about a month ago. Actually, it was the first half of August. So I wrote, wow, my channel is breaking records since 2020 and I'm supposed to be on a work holiday. Well, my videos that I have saved up are still being published and will be until August 24th. Considering how much I love Fallout 4 and was really invested in this part of the story, I have around 7 of them in a row and nothing else after the next Oblivion video. I plan to have more videos up on the latter half of September, and let's just hope my channel momentum continues. It didn't, it tanked. I went down to about a quarter at the lowest point. That's hovering about the middle of the high that I got here. So there was a post that I made on the community, whatever tab, maybe 2-3 months ago. I think it's about 2 months ago. And that I wrote that I'm getting more views in a 48-hour period than I ever have. And this one, at the time that I put this in, it blasted that away. So I was getting, what, 980 views around before. Now, this one was over 1,300, so that's a big jump. So it just also made me think how small my channel is, especially with everything that I've lost, because, you know, I had 1,300 views in one day when my channel was still growing back in 2016. I think it was around March of 2016, so yeah, so my highest I've gotten maybe half of the previous high. Oh well, gotta keep going. So, what rating would you give my Neverwinter Nights The Wailing Death Let's Roleplay? Please make a comment about why you choose what rating for it below. 35 votes. 51% chose A, 17% B, 9% C, 6% D, 17% F. I don't feel that the game is that bad. I actually think it's not a bad game. I may give it like 6.5, 7 out of 10. Especially for its time. Nowadays, if it just came out now, I'd be like, what's this? But back in the day, I have to take that into account. I don't think it's that bad of a game. I think it's pretty good. A lot of the games I have on my channel are pretty dated. Especially when I go back to Fallout, the first game, which is a 97 game, after Fallout 4, which probably won't happen maybe next year. Till some point next year, or maybe 2024. Fallout 4 is a really long game with all the expansions. So, no comments on this one. But as I said, vote for the character. But I can also see people not liking an evil type character, and you might not like my voice that I do for him. And yeah, that mixed in with a game that didn't ever have the greatest reputation, I can see. But, you know, it's about my work, really. 17%, that's a little harsh, guys. Okay, just how far is a tasteful representation of sex and sexual themes acceptable for you? I aim for the limited goal and don't want to go past it. Yes, I have experimented with what can be done in the past, and Fallout 4 and Skyrim can literally be made into hardcore sex games, but even if that were completely allowed on YouTube with full monetization, I wouldn't go there. My overall goal is mature stories about people's adventures and their lives. Like anything close to our reality, this would include romance and sex, and how the person deals with it. I won't show anything porn-like, but yeah, from time to time there is sex. I've had this in all my games so far since 2020, except for Oblivion, which is a work in progress. So not there yet. Apparently something is supposed to happen, so I've been told, with the Vilya romance. I have no idea what, though. But some things, I was told, it's going to get heavy. I can't see that, but I am trying to get to that point. So, yeah, I think I wrote this in kind of because, not kind of, but probably really because of the video I wrote when he had, when Ryan Moore had sex with that singer woman. What was her name again? I forgot her name. I just did this last month. I forgot her name. But anyways, you would know it if you've watched it. And it actually is one of the, it got a lot of views. For especially how far it is into the game, so I don't know. So 32 votes, anything goes, even hardcore visuals and sound, 41%. Yeah, I can see that, but I wouldn't be allowed to do that. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think you can do that on YouTube. So 22% limited with parts covered, short, sound effects, fade to black. That's what I'm focused on. 31%, just the suggestion that something more is happening is fine. And 6%, nothing at all. I don't want any sex at all whatsoever. Misha wrote, a very interesting topic. I think I can agree with people that think adult mods in games like Skyrim are tasteless. They really kind of are. Skyrim modders are always focusing on eye candy and animations while dropping the ball on exposition and writing. I actually wouldn't really know that. I haven't played with too much actual story-based mods. I think I may have a couple that I'm going to be putting into Skyrim that I plan to. But yeah, from what the few I've seen, but yeah, there really wasn't any story. Skyrim, so I mean, I can't speak from a position of knowing this. It's interesting to see somebody else's opinion. I'd say Skyrim in general is a bit of a tasteless game, a sandbox, as I say, which has no innate worth apart from its engine base to build upon. On the other hand, Neverwinter Nights, Neverwinter Nights, A Dance with Rogues was hands down the best game I ever played, so is that a mod? The writing and the plot were so good, I stopped caring about its outdated gameplay and would pick it over my 200 gigabyte Skyrim install with over 1,000 mods. Oh wow. I never went that heavy with the mods. Well, I like the mechanics of Skyrim, I like the lore, I like the background, I like some of the characters. You know, obviously character interaction is pretty poor. Only with the people that are giving you quests, really. But, you know, with your companions, there's barely anything there. They did change that in Fallout 4, so that was a good step up. Captain Red 1000 wrote, sexual relations in general is not a topic I find particularly interesting even in video games. I guess I would lean more towards the idea that unless what happens during the act is important to the game, err on the side of caution and don't go overboard with it. JT wrote, for sake of realism, sexual interactions make sense. In my opinion, best for character romance only, and prefer fade to black. SFW. Not sure what that means. What the acronym is for. So, just J1281. Hardcore is not tasteful in my opinion. Limited or suggested and leaving the rest up to the individual and imaginations if they are so inclined. Yeah, I think you guys kind of hovering between limited and just the suggestion. I would go with limited. I don't plan to be showing that much, obviously, but it is part of the character relations. I mean, geez, look at some of the Mass Effect games. They do show boobies and butts. So, and then same thing with the Dragon Age Inquisition, they showed some parts, so... They show parts. I don't see why I couldn't have a little bit limited, so I don't find it distasteful. Hardcore, I wouldn't want to do it at all. You know, that's because it's just not in the theme of what I'm trying to do. I mean, I'm not playing the sex RPG, so if I was doing the sex RPG in character, which I do not plan to do, obviously there would be a lot of sex, considering that's the point of the game. I have looked at various versions of Vilja for Skyrim, and I have chosen these 3. You now get to vote on which one you prefer, and I will be going by that choice. Look through the 3 pictures and decide. Picture 1 is from the Vilja Reimagine SSE mod. Picture 2, middle with darker hair, is from the Vilja Visual Overhaul Ella's version mod. Picture 3 is from Vilja Sky and SE Replacer. So, special edition. The poll comes out 15 minutes after this community post, so if you catch this before, just please patiently wait. They don't allow pictures in the polls, so this is the only way I could think to do this. So you guys actually voted the one that I wanted. Why you blue? There's a couple comments. Number 1 without a doubt. Yep, I agree, and says the Tuttle 99, number 1 without doubt. Jan the Man, yes, 1. Yep. So obviously I haven't gotten to that poll results. I couldn't put pictures and a poll in the same thing, which I don't know why YouTube did it that way, but they did. So, which Skyrim Vilja do you prefer? Yes, I will go by the vote here. They don't allow pictures and polls, so be sure to check out the previous community posts with the 3 pictures of Vilja and remember the names of the mod you like best. Vilja Reimagine SSE, 64%. That's my vote too. Vilja Visual Overhaul, Ella's version, 19%. Vilja Sky and SE Replacer, 17%. I probably would have gone with the Vilja Sky. That one picture wasn't... It was the best that I could find, but some of the other pictures, well, they're all kind of good. I didn't like the original picture of... the picture. I didn't really like the original look of Vilja that came with the mod. That's personal choice. Like, she wasn't ugly, they could have done better, in my opinion. So, Arcus Silver... Looking forward to your Skyrim roleplay. Me too. JT wrote, Skyrim roleplay, may I suggest Rigmor Bruma and its trilogy. Yeah, wasn't there... Okay, yeah, that was... I think this was the original one. Jeez, we're going back quite a while. I did play it a bit. Actually, oh yeah, she was with the archer woman. I forget her name when I first met her. I didn't really get into it because... Not because of any... good or bad feelings I had. I just didn't get into it. I lost my original game of Skyrim due to bugs in a mod. This isn't really... I don't think it's the modder's fault. I think it's more a Bethesda fault. It was a bunch of sounds that they had cobbled together to enhance the game. You know, like you're in a tent and it's raining, you can hear the rain patter off the roof of the tent. And things like that are really neat, and wildlife sounds. Like, it just added a lot of life to the game. So I had like 4 or 5 of those compilation mods. Each one had like 50 or 100 different sounds effects added into it. And then it had like every time you saved, it would bloat. So to the point where it corrupted the saves. Not just the one save, the entire list of saves for Skyrim. And I was level 50 at the time. I was put in quite a few hours. I was not impressed. This is probably in early 2012. I was not impressed at all. That, oh man. I don't think I came back till probably like 6 months or a year later to play Skyrim. I was really, really put off by that. And I definitely never went with those sound mods again. But I was heard that the author may have removed it and re-put them up there without the bloating anymore. I don't know. I just know that I will never touch them again because of what I went through. I was having like the time of my life with those saves, and yeah, I couldn't get them back. So, Rigmor Bruma, yeah, that was one of in the original. I had added it in, and I never really got into it. I think I met her, and that was about it. She wanted me. Oh, didn't she want me to go kill a vampire? And then I did, and that was as far as I got. So, yeah, I don't know anything else about the mod. So I wrote back, I'll have to take another look at it again when I put all the mods together. So I'll be putting that on the list, Rigmor Bruma, to look at it. I don't want to add something that's going to just make Skyrim take way longer than it should. Yeah, I know people have suggested, oh, what is that one where you get all the, you collect everything and there's like a museum and everything. Apparently it adds a lot to the game. I may think about it, but, you know, I don't want, 500 1-hour-long episodes for Skyrim. I mean, some people would enjoy that, but I mean, it's my favorite game, so I don't know. I'm also interested to know what Skyrim and Fallout 4 playing side by side, how I would feel about it. It is a little weird because Skyrim came out in 2011, Fallout 4 came out in 2015. Fallout 4 has a little bit more game mechanics added to it, but then there's the special edition and now the anniversary edition of Skyrim, where they have added things to it over the years. So it's a little weird, where Skyrim, obviously it came out earlier, but it's had some work done onto it since, even after Fallout 4, so a little bit of a weird situation there. JT wrote, alright, it's my favorite modded storyline. Thought I'd suggest it. Well, sounds good then. I'll look up the Rigmore Bruma. I'll add that to my list of trying to get it to work together. Some mods I wouldn't use, and not because I don't like them. It's just because if I see a bunch of people saying it's crashing with this and that and it doesn't work, and then the author said, well, I can't do anything about it, or they just left it and never came back and fixed it. But then again, for some of these things, you can find other people who will make a patch for the certain mods to work together, and that I would go with that. So that would really help. I love those, actually, those little mods that people kind of make. It's like a patch to get them. And the mods that I want to add together, it makes me feel a lot more comfortable adding that in. But if there's what was that, the original Helgen that was burned to the ground? There was for a long time a Helgen rebuilt mod or something like that. But when I went and looked into it, there was all these bugs, and people were saying they're crashing this, crashing that, or this person isn't talking to you. That's supposed to, give you the next step in the quest. I don't like that. I don't like that. If they're actively working at updating it to fix that, then I do like mods like that. I have more confidence in it. But if they've just left it for 5 years, right, and there's people saying, well, this isn't working, that's from like last year, then I'll be like, I don't know if I want to get this mod. So I do steer away from mods. That's one of the ways reasons why I would steer away from a mod. I don't know if I saw this comment from Noah Miller. I'll upvote it. Honestly, I'm not a fan of any of them. Oh, yeah. They all look a bit porny, if that's the word. But then again, Elder Scrolls is the series where Khajiit legit have barbed penises. So, I didn't see this comment. It must have slipped by. I don't think that they look porny. I think that might be more what's going on in your head, Noah Miller. Have you seen the original Vilya? I don't know about that. I mean, everybody has their opinions. But the way I see it, I don't see it as... It's not a porn game for me. And I don't plan to roleplay it as a porn game. But yes, I do believe that there will be some fade to black scenes with Vilya and my character that I'll be putting up. A poll for your favorite character of the current Let's Roleplays that I'm publishing on my channel. 29 votes. Evaldus Tal, 7%. Ryan Moore, 24%. Malcolm Montrose, 3%. And last choice, I love all three. Different personas make them all enjoyable, 66%. So, this is a bit of a problem because then I don't know who people like overall. I can't really trust this Ryan Moore out of the three because this of 66%. If I don't put all the above, then people will be forced to choose one of them. But then it's also nice to have an all of the above. So, I don't know. Yeah, it would have been nice to see which, in some cases, I know you guys like to choose these, but if I'm just looking at it and I'm curious, I would like to see who would have gotten the top vote. And I don't know. I would say Ryan Moore is the winner of just the three, but then again, like I said, not with the bottom, all the above. Alright. For my Let's Roleplay of Morrowind, who do you think ended up being the more important companion by the end? Julan or Shani? 26 votes, 65% went with Julan, 0 for Shani. 35% both seemed equally important to me. So honestly, I would have wrote, the only person that picked Shani. Because as far as my character was concerned, at the end, Shani was pretty important to him. I might even bring her in a future Elder Scrolls game as a mention. And I have a picture to represent her. Some artist drew online. It was pretty good. Red hair, Dunmer, a little bit older. So, I want die. Not I want to die, I want die. What mods are you going to use? Thumb that up. For Skyrim, or what I used for Morrowind? I want die wrote... Sorry, I read that wrong. I'm new to the channel, so I was unaware you did a Morrowind Let's Play. I read it as, who do you think will be the best companion? Sorry for the confusion. I'll be sure to watch the Morrowind playlist. Alright, wrote back, no worries, it's a long one, but a good one. My reading does get better with time, so please be patient. I'm pretty good at narrating and voice acting now, as I've shown in Oblivion and Fallout 4. And probably should have written Neverwinter Nights. This is my Neverwinter Nights shirt. I haven't worn this before, this is the first time I've actually worn it. I've had it for a few months. Last poll. This poll is about the personalities of my more popular characters from my Let's Roleplay since 2020. Who would you like as a companion or friend if you were on an adventure? Please don't base this on which game you like best, but on the content of the character, so to speak. With 28 votes, the votes have gone down and down and down, so a few more people have voted since I last looked at it. 7% for Snail Rilvain. 11% Malcolm Montrose. 11% Ryan Moore. 57% Orin of Candlekeep, and 14% Evaldus Tall. Well, I can see Evaldus Tall because he is a cleric. He would be very nice to have in a group. Ryan Moore. I guess he's good with guns and his power armor. Malcolm Montrose. He can... doesn't really heal other people, even though he could, but he'd be a good guild or group member, I would think. And Sunil Relvain. Straight up fighter. Uses bow as well. Heals himself. Don't have to... Well, everyone can use a healer in a tough fight, but yeah, he tends to heal himself, keep his health up. I can definitely see why people would have chosen Orin of Candlekeep. She is not a healer. She's just straight up DPS. Ranged DPS. RDPS is which they used to call it in Warhammer Online. Probably other MMOs as well. The RDPS thing, I won't forget that. That's what I would say. That's what people wrote if they're one of the archers, RDPS. So Orin of Candlekeep, yes, because I wrote, wow, Orin of Candlekeep is at the top spot. Well, who wouldn't want a beautiful blonde elf at your side? Noel Miller wrote, no love for my dumber bro Snail. I wrote, I guess not. He's in the bottom spot at the moment, and he remained there. That's not that many votes. What happened? I was up almost 100 votes at one point. Sure. I think I had 90 votes for one of them. One of the polls in the last year. I don't know why it's dropped so low now. Yes, people were on their summer vacation, but this is from 4 days ago, so this one poll is still ongoing. Well, all the polls are ongoing. Somebody new can just, come into my channel and just vote for everything. And I'm sure some people have, because, the polls have been going for a good probably about since the middle of 2021. So over a year. Alright, so the polls are now done. If you would like to help out and support Let's Roleplay, you can donate at my Patreon account or become a member of my channel, which also comes with perks. Just click on the join video to watch what I put together and what you as a member would get. I'm going to be editing the middle tier soon because I've already been posting all those who have been my patrons, and that was the perk that you would get your name posted. So speaking of patrons, Patreon actually gives me 80% of the money given, whereas YouTube gives only 70%. However, you do get the perks with YouTube. Everyone who donates to me on Patreon are also getting their names posted as supporters at the end of my videos, so that is also a bit of a perk through Patreon as well. So I'm actually quite active on Twitter. I post several times a day. As I said earlier, I'll be avoiding politics, but I'll still be giving a like to those I follow right now and I agree with, though I won't be I'll try not to make any comments politically anymore. Unless it has something to do with the game. If there's like a game company doing something, then I will voice my opinion if I disagree or agree with it. So, alright everyone, thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll see you again.